Selena Gomez didn't just marry Benny Blanco, she sent a message Justin Bieber couldn't ignore. Her Montecito wedding wasn't staged for headlines, it was designed for silence, the kind that speaks louder than words. Every detail, the date, the gown, the secrecy, felt intentional, like a statement to the one person who once defined her story. While Justin kept posting songs and symbols of the past, Selena wrote her final verse in reality. I see this wedding as her way of saying what words never could. That peace is louder than pain, and she's finally in control. Selena didn't just survive heartbreak, she monetized it. She took the pain, the silence, the humiliation, and turned it into rare beauty, into billion-dollar elegance, into total control. Every brand deal, every public appearance, every wordless smile felt like a quiet declaration that the girl who once broke beside Justin Bieber had learned how to rebuild without him. While his world stayed loud, songs, apologies, explanations, hers turned precise, curated, untouchable. I see that shift as more than success. It was distance carefully designed. A fan commented, "She turned heartbreak into a company, and that's how you win." That line captured what made her transformation so powerful. She didn't chase validation, she created value. I think it showed how Selena flipped the narrative, turning public pain into something profitable, beautiful, and completely under her control. Another viral comment said, "Justin sang about losing her." She built an empire while he was still writing the chorus. That one hit even harder. It wasn't just a jab, it was perspective. It summed up years of imbalance, two different paths carved from the same heartbreak. While he kept looking back through music, Selena kept moving forward through empire. That contrast became her loudest message yet. Every part of Selena's wedding felt like proof, not of love, but of evolution. The secrecy, the silence, the flawless design weren't just choices, they were armor. This wasn't about hiding, it was about proving she's untouchable. No cameras, no leaks, no headlines written for her. Only the story she allowed to exist. While Justin once lived his life in public chaos, Selena's calm became her weapon. I see this as the moment she stopped being the girl everyone dissected and became the woman no one could touch. Even the location spoke for her. Montecito, where privacy costs more than diamonds. I think that's what made this wedding feel different. It wasn't a fairy tale meant to impress Hollywood. It was a masterclass in control. She didn't shout that she'd moved on. She whispered it, and somehow, the world still heard her loud and clear. Someone on social media said, "Selena just proved that real power is silence. Everyone else talks, she just wins." That comment perfectly summed up the shift. She no longer needs to explain anything, because her life now speaks for itself. Another viral tweet read, "Justin made noise. Selena made history." I think that line captured the real impact. Chaos fades, but composure lasts forever. Inside Selena Gomez's $8 million wedding, every detail looked effortless but spoke volumes. The ceremony unfolded inside a private Montecito estate, where privacy costs more than property, and even guests didn't know the location until they arrived. Selena's gown was custom Ralph Lauren, hand-draped satin, halter neck perfection worth over $200,000. Timeless, elegant, and completely untouched by trend. Her second dress, a shorter lace piece for the reception, shimmered under candlelight like freedom itself. I see that as her quiet statement. No labels, no chaos, just class. The ring was a marquee-cut diamond, nearly flawless, sitting somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million. Not for attention, but precision. I think the entire setting, from the ocean backdrop to the drone-free sky, wasn't romance. It was strategy. Everything about that night whispered the same truth. She no longer shares her story, she curates it. A discussion thread pointed out, that wedding wasn't a ceremony, it was a masterclass in control. And that's exactly what it was. Every inch of it planned to perfection, reminding everyone how power really moves, quietly. Another fan added, "Justin sang about her in studios. She married in silence, and the world still heard it." That line hit harder than any lyric. It wasn't cruelty, it was grace disguised as strength. But maybe the perfection wasn't just for beauty's sake. Maybe it meant something more. Behind the satin, the laughter, and the perfectly timed smiles, there was a silence that said everything. He wasn't there, but somehow, Justin Bieber's shadow lingered between the vows. Every glance, every pause, every shimmer of light felt deliberate, like a message wrapped in elegance. I see it not as longing, but as control. The kind of quiet you earn only after surviving chaos. This wasn't revenge, and it wasn't performance. It was reflection made visible. The timing, the tone, the restraint, all of it whispered what words could never hold. While Justin kept turning the past into music, Selena turned it into peace. And maybe that's what made it so powerful. She didn't have to outshine him. She simply stopped needing to. I think that's what hurt more than anything. Realizing the girl he once inspired songs about was now living a life he could only sing about. One viewer posted, "That wedding was her final verse, quiet, graceful, and untouchable." Another said, "He performs heartbreak." She lives healing, both were right. The world saw perfection. He saw the message inside it, a reminder that sometimes silence closes the story louder than any word ever could. The world saw numbers, headlines screaming about an $8 million wedding. But to me, every cent sounded like punctuation. Selena didn't spend for spectacle, she spent for silence. Every choice, from the unmarked invitations to the guarded gates, was designed to say what words never could. Peace has a price, and she finally paid it. The same cameras that once hunted her heartbreak were locked out of Montecito. Even guests surrendered their phones, as if the day itself demanded to remain untouched. The ring, a flawless marquee-cut diamond near $1 million, wasn't just luxury, it was intention. Sharp edges, no flaws, no cracks to hide behind. Her two Ralph Lauren gowns, crafted from hand-draped satin and lace, weren't fashion statements. They were symbols of precision, elegance stitched into armor. Every fitting, every fold, every shimmering detail looked like a quiet victory. I see that weekend not as extravagance, but as order. The calm after a decade of noise. Justin once shared his emotions through chaos. Lyrics, apologies, endless confession. Selena's emotions came through discipline. She no longer needed to sing about pain. She could wear peace instead. I think that's what made it sting most. Realizing the girl who once cried over him now builds silence worth millions. The $8 million wasn't indulgence, it was translation. A language written in lace, light, and control. Every dollar whispered the same message. She no longer needed to be heard to make herself understood. After the vows, the world waited. For photos, updates, even a glimpse of where she went. But nothing came. No leaks, no captions, no perfectly timed posts. Selena Gomez disappeared. Not in mystery, but in mastery. The woman who once lived in headlines finally chose silence, and the world didn't know how to handle it. I see that as her final act of control, not an escape, but a statement. While other celebrities turned honeymoons into photo ops, Selena turned hers into invisibility. No press coverage, no sponsored content, no tracking jets on celebrity maps. Rumors whispered Cabo, Italy, maybe a private villa somewhere sunlight couldn't reach. But nobody really knew, and that uncertainty became the magic. I think that's what made it sting for Justin Bieber. The woman who was once his muse was now untouchable, not because she hid, but because she didn't need to be seen anymore. Her honeymoon wasn't a retreat, it was the conclusion of her quiet manifesto. Every hour offline, every unposted moment was deliberate. She'd spent years being documented by others. This time, she authored her absence. While Justin still posted cryptic stories and late-night verses, Selena existed outside the noise, beyond captions, beyond explanation. That disappearance wasn't emptiness, it was freedom perfected. She didn't post happiness because she'd outgrown proving it. The silence was enough. Maybe that's the ending no one expected. Not fireworks, not confession, just a woman finally choosing peace, and a man realizing he could never reach her there. She never said his name, she didn't need to. The wedding, the silence, the disappearance, it all spoke louder than any lyric ever could. I see it as the ending no one expected. Not a breakup, not revenge, just quiet evolution. Justin kept searching for closure in songs. Selena found hers in peace. That's what made her message so powerful. She didn't perform her healing, she lived it. I think the silence after her wedding said everything. No interviews, no captions, no noise, just calm. The kind of calm that doesn't come from forgetting, but from finally being free. Because in the end, her greatest statement wasn't love or loss, it was letting go and meaning it.